Lesson 5.6, Solving Percent Problems. In this video, you will learn to find percents of numbers and find the whole percent given the part and the percent. Finding the percent of a number. In words, write the percent as a fraction, then multiply by the whole. The percent times the whole equals the part. In numbers, if you write out what you're finding, 20% of 60 is 12, we remember that certain words translate into math terms. Like of always means multiply, and is always means equal, and then you have a math equation. You know how to turn 20% into a fraction now. So 20% as a fraction is 1/5. Of means times. 60 is still 60. Is equals. And when you do 1/5 times 60, you get 12. Example 1. 25% of 40 is what number? Okay, so we have this part right here, 25%. We know that of means times, 40 is 40, is equals, and what number? We don't know. We're trying to find that out. So let's write 25% as a fraction. You can simplify it as you want, if you want, or you could do it later. Times 40, which is the same as 40 over 1. And then when we were back in chapter 2, I think it was always recommended to simplify before you multiply. So let's see what we can simplify first. Just taking a look at this, I can see that 25 goes into 100 4 times. So I'm going to divide by 4. I'll write it on this side. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. That's now a 1. That's now a 4. Can also simplify the 4 and the 40. So this 4 becomes a 1 and the 40 becomes a 10. Nothing more I can simplify. 1 times 10 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. Simplify that and I get 10. 25% of 40 is 10. Example 2. 60% of 150 is what number? This one's asking you to use a ratio table to find the part. It says let one row be the part, let the other be the whole. Find an equivalent ratio with 150 as the whole. Okay, so let me set that up. There, it's like magic. Okay, so here I have my 60 over 100. That's my part to my whole. That's my 60%. My goal is to get an equivalent ratio with 150 as my whole. So I'm going to put that down here. I can't exactly go from 100 to 150. I don't have something I can multiply or divide 100 by to get to 150. So I need to put something in this column here. I need another equivalent fraction. And I have some choices that I could do. Something that would be simple is if I had 50 right here. Because I could divide by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And if I do it on the bottom, I do it on the top. 60 divided by 2 is 30. And now I can actually multiply by 3 to get to 150. If I do it on the bottom, I do it on the top. 30 times 3 is 90. Let me go back and see if I have answered the question here. Find an equivalent ratio with 150 as the whole. So my answer is actually going to be 90. So this is just another strategy to answer the same question like we did before. Okay, something else you're going to have to do is find the whole. So first, if you're asked to find the whole of a number, write the percent as a fraction, then divide the part by the fraction. So in words, the part divided by the percent equals the whole. In numbers, 20% of 60 is 12. Okay, so first we have the multiplication equation that we're getting right from that like we did before. Okay, 20% is 1/5 of means times. 60 still 60 is equals, and then 12 is the answer. Well, we're kind of going backwards now. They're giving us 12, and we're trying to find the whole. Okay, so they're giving us 12 and they're giving us the percent, but we need to know what the whole is. So we're going to actually just work backwards. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So 12 divided by the fraction, which is the percent, equals exactly what we're looking for, which is this. Okay, so here's an example. Example 3. 75% of what number is 48? So remember, before we would have said 75% times what number we don't know right now equals 48. But before we had this number and we were looking for this number. Well, now it's kind of backwards. So we need to flip things around a little bit. We're going to say 48 divided by 75% equals the whole. That's what we're looking for. It's going to be a bigger number. Okay, so I have the 48, but I need to turn that 75 into a fraction, which is 75 over 100. And now you need to dig back to remember how to divide by fractions. Okay, so this is still 48 over 1. We're going to keep it, change it, flip it. 48 over 1. This is what I'm going to change. And then this is going to be 100 over 75. Okay, I'm going to simplify here. I know that if I divide 175 by 25 each, it'll go in there 4 times, it'll go in there 3 times. And I think that's all I can simplify, because 3 doesn't go into 4, and 3 does not, oh it does. 3 does go into 48. 3 goes into 48 16 times. So I'm going to turn this into a 1, and this into a 16. And now I have 16 times 4, which is 64 over 1, which is the same as 64. So 75% of 64 is 48. This is the number we were looking for right here. Okay, example 4. 120% of what number is 72? So this says finding the whole using a ratio table. Alright, so I'm going to set up my ratio table. I have my part on the top, my whole on the bottom, just like you would have for your fraction. And I have 120 over 100, because that's what this is as a fraction. And then I'm going to end up with 72 being my part, and I'm trying to find my whole, because it's of what number. So I'm trying to find this right here. Okay, so I can't really go from 120 to 72. I don't know a factor I can divide that by, so I need like this middle column to be a midway point. So I need something that's like a factor of both of them. And I know 6 would be a good number, because I can divide 120 by 20. I'm going to get 6. And if I do that on the top, I'm going to do that on the bottom. 100 divided by 20 is 5. And now I know I can go from 6 to 72. I'm going to multiply by 12. If I do it on the top, I do it on the bottom. 5 times 12 is 60. Okay, and that is actually my answer, is 60. So you could do it this way with a ratio table, or you could do it the way we did in example 3, with just writing out the equation. You could have done 72 divided by 120%. Make that 120% a fraction.